Welcome to week 2 of the Thought Mosaic. The question or topic, what specifically motivates us to be true to ourselves? We got 12 responses this week from a plethora of people. I don't know if I said that right. From students, personal coaches, from university administrators to consultants. So a wide variety of people contributing. I'd like to start off with a joke. Alright, so the joke. What do you call a deer without eyes? You don't know? No idea. Alright, what do you call a deer without eyes and no legs? Still no idea. Alright, and now an explanation. I have this handy dandy timeline plus some other things I'm going to be using here. An explanation of the joke. Why did I start off with the joke? I hope you laughed, whether it was at the joke or at me, because laughter, I read somewhere, is very important to the learning process. When you're happy, when you're in a good mood, you learn more. So hopefully you're laughing one way or the other. Alright, see file. That means I look at this thing for what to do next. I'm not doing the reading off a screen like last time. Field question. Okay. So one person said, I'm curious why the motivation is considered more intense based on the quantity of reasons rather than the quantity of desire. I'll explain the reason for listing different motivations. We all have our own motivations for being true to ourselves. Let's say we've got 2 or 3 really solid ones. The benefit of listening to 10 or so other motivations is that we can connect with others and say, yeah, I never thought about that, or oh yeah, that's true too. And although it's true that the quantity of desire is better than the quantity of reasons, when you don't affect the original quantity of desire and you're adding different reasons, you're adding different quantities of desire, theoretically. You're adding more reasons for wanting to be true to yourself. And the more motivation, the better. Starting point, Fred Falker. It seems that we have many different motivations. Perhaps the greatest driver of this search for our true self is our socialization. The fact that we are told constantly that we must find ourselves and that we are separate and distinct entities, unconnected to and independent of others and the rest of the world, drives many of us to limit who we can be and what we can do. My true self is a figment of my imagination, existing mostly because of society's call for me to find him and my need not to be invisible. This is a big concept, that our independence is a facade that we've created for reality, where in reality we are all one. We are all part of the universe. We are all part of God, or exist within God. We are all part of Earth. One thing, we're all united in some manner, and that our individuality, and that we have to find that individuality, that's a facade. So I think that's a good starting point, because it addresses why am I trying to be who I am. Another starting point, submission number 7, says, I used to think of motivation as a desire, willpower, and mindset to achieve a goal, much like a New Year's resolution to be more organized or to be more patient. If I could achieve that perfect state of motivation, I could easily achieve my goal. What I discovered is that there is seldom a magic state of motivation. If you want to be more true to yourself, you have to 1. Make a decision to do so. 2. Monitor your behavior by pausing for a couple of minutes every so often to do a self-check. And 3. Consistently and consciously choose the words and actions that reflect my true self. Aside from bringing up a good plan for proactively seeking self-awareness, this brings up a good point about motivation. That motivation is transitory. It comes and it goes, and it comes and it goes. So, on that note, let's talk about motivation. Motivation numero uno. Response 9 suggests we don't need motivation. My gut reaction is we don't need motivation for being ourselves. It is our nature. It is simply the drive to be alive, and abstractly the drive to resonate in culture. I think the Video Mosaic project speaks well to the abstract drive of self. We participate in this to stake a claim within the now vast amount of information. We fight, hope, desire for a place in the page of history, just as we fight, hope, desire for our nourishment. Motivation 2. Submission 10 talks about the congruence between action and the reason for action. I believe that most healthy persons have a high need for congruence between what we do and why we do it. When we know we are not being true to ourselves, that creates a level of stress and consternation that we will work diligently to resolve. Failing to resolve this dissonance can be detrimental to our mental and physical health. 3. Response number 1 suggests connecting with something larger. Now, this could be religious, this could be seeing all beings as one. Either way, it is connecting with something larger than the self. 4. Response number 1 also suggests that it is a waste of energy to try to be anyone other than yourself. 1 continues with the 5th motivation, which is that we only have so much time on this world. Quote, I don't want to squander the moments that I have by showing up as anyone other than myself. End quote. 6. That's 6 in Spanish. Submission 2 talks about balance between inside and outside motivation. Now, although motivation is important, this response reminds us that it doesn't have to be us all alone. It also implies that we have a huge capacity to support our loved ones in being themselves. And for me, the word or the idea of unconditional love is hugely important here. Brooke Yokoyama notes the importance of supportive relationships in her submission. If you feel like no one loves or values you, then it's really difficult to love yourself. Having people around you that love you and respect you give you the strength and courage to face whatever challenges may come. PDB talks about survival and the desire to be happy as a motivation. Edward McFallon discusses this individualism-rooted motivation. I would say that our specific motivations are selfish in a way. In my honest opinion, everything we do is based on our pursuit of happiness/gratification, which rejects the ideas that anything we do is completely altruistic. If at some point in our lives we find being true to ourselves more gratifying than the alternative, we will then begin to be true to ourselves. 8. Brooke Yokoyama talks about self-love. Self-love is a crucial motivation for becoming and staying true to the person you want to be. When you love and value who you are, acting against the aspects of you that are central to who you are becomes an injustice to yourself. 9. Response 6 talks about self-progress. My biggest motivator to be true to myself is when I'm not being true to myself. I have a much better grasp of when this is happening, but still get caught in the act of doing this because I think I should, for acceptance or who knows why. And what about when you realize that parts of your true self aren't all that pretty? Or when being true to yourself is challenging some of your long-held thoughts and ideas? The big motivator is when I find myself at a place where the progress has stopped. 10. Submission 11 recants a change of societal environments being instrumental in her motivation for further awareness. This change, she says, brought her a new level of awareness which whet her appetite for more awareness. So a taste of awareness can motivate further awareness. I want to close with a quote on self-truth. Speak what you think today, and words as hard as cannonballs. And tomorrow speak what tomorrow thinks in hard words again, though it contradict everything you said today. Ralph Waldo Emerson.